Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Investing from A to Z podcast. I'm your host, Steph Boldrini. This podcast is for everyone who wants to be part of our real estate family and learn commercial real estate investing from A to Z. I'll be sharing with you tips for real estate investing while being mentored by a few people with several years of experience so that you and I can make the least amount of mistakes as possible and succeed a lot faster. My goal is to keep things very straightforward because I value your time and you are here to learn. With that, in the last episode, we learned what are some really interesting ways of buying, selling, and exchanging real estate. And in today's episode, we are learning how can photography and videos improve the value of your commercial property. What are some tips for hiring and screening a good commercial photographer? And what are some new technologies that are being used to market your property visually? We are interviewing Brian Balduf. He is the CEO and co-founder of VHT Studios, a firm that focuses on commercial photography and videography for real estate. Here we go. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't we get started with you telling us a little bit about you?
Oh, hi, Steph. Sure. I appreciate it. Glad to be here. I am Brian Balduf. I am the co-founder of VHT Studios, also the CEO. And VHT Studios is a visual marketing company. We're a nationwide company. We have over 1,000 artists on the team, photographers, videographers, drone pilots, measuring specialists. And we generally work with companies that are looking to market or sell properties, places, locations, destinations. And we help them do that by providing photography, videography, drone video, 3D tours, virtual staging, and a number of other visual marketing services.
How can photography and videos improve the value of a commercial property?
Visual marketing really has the power to impact people and make an effect, create a perception. We like to say it has the ability to affect, move, and motivate people to take action, because real estate in general is a very visual sale. People need to see it. They need to be able to envision themselves in a space, whether it's doing business or setting up an office. And nothing does that better than stunning, striking photography. So when you think of anybody can push a button on a camera and take a picture, but what you're really looking to do is get results and get a return on your investment and get people to either have a perception of the property, the value of the property, or to take the next step. Because people are so busy today and they see so many things, and first impressions are so critical. If they're looking at 6, 7, or 60 or 70 different places, what is it that's going to get them to spend more time on yours, or take the next step and request additional information or visit in person? And we've seen over 21 years, visual marketing has the power to do that.
I can see that, pun intended. Do you have some statistics of the benefits of professionally shot properties versus non-professionally shot properties?
I don't have specifics, but I can tell you what we've seen in different studies and analysis. And to me, one of the most exciting or interesting is the increase in perceived value of a property. When people are looking at things online, the better the visual representation, the more they think that property is worth, which is a great place to start with a potential buyer or renter. You want them coming in from the beginning thinking, this is a great place. The reason for that is picture getting pardon the pun, but grainy, blurry, maybe out of focus shot of a location or a property, and the perception that creates in the buyer, if it even registers with them, or they just skip it, versus something that's well lit, clear, crisp, bright, and just attractive, gets their attention. Right out of the gate, they're going to feel that that property is worth more. And that's a great place to start with any new potential client. I mean, we've also seen it shorten sales cycles, get sale prices closer to the asking price. Both of those are really by exposing the property to a much wider audience that is much more engaged because of the impact that the visuals have on them.
You know what comes to mind, and I don't know if this happens with professionally shot real estate, is sometimes when you're looking at someone's picture that they're going to be giving a presentation, and then it's obviously professionally shot and completely edited, and then the person shows up and they're absolutely not what they actually look like on their picture. Does that happen in commercial properties? And how do you balance making it look stunning versus the person actually walking in and being impressed or not?
It's similar to, like you talked about, portraits of people. Generally, when a person looks much different than their photograph, it's because the photograph is old. And we see that a lot in this industry where people don't update their photographs. Generally, anytime you do improvements to a property or you change something, you want to get it photographed and recorded right then and there when it looks great, as opposed to, after tenants have moved in or after it's had a few years. So I think people don't generally use photography to try and trick buyers, but leaving photographs up that are 10 years old, the experience when they come to visit the place probably is going to be different. I think nowadays people expect photography and video and drone and such to be more recent. What does this place look like today?
So how do you keep up with technology such as drones and other things in the photography world?
That's a good question, because there's a lot of changes in the technology for visual marketing, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. Drone is a big one. 3D tours are a big one. Virtual staging is incredibly popular right now. We can talk about all three. Drone's exciting because it's different. It's a different view than people are used to. So it's dramatic, it's eye-catching, it gets people's attention, and it's useful. It's useful to be able to fly above a property, see the roof, fly around a building and see the surrounding area, the parking lot or the grounds, or even the area that the property's in. Is it close to transportation or other things that are important to potential buyers or renters? And drones, relatively new technology. We were one of the VHT Studios was one of the first to roll it out nationwide for our clients. There was a lot of issues with the FAA and getting licensing to use drones for a variety of purposes and registering the drones, but kind of worked through all that, and it's become a very popular service nowadays. We view it as our responsibility to our clients and our business partners to stay on top of the technologies and the laws and the other factors that go into them being able to market their properties this way.
What are some tips for screening a good photographer and videographer that is focused in commercial real estate?
I would say the most important thing in screening or choosing a partner or provider for photography or video is to look at their experience. Again, anybody could push a button on a camera and take a picture, but that's not the point here. The point is you want to make an impact, make an impression, create a perception, and sell or rent the property. So you're really looking for a return on your investment. Best way to do that is see what they've done before that's similar. Not just their work, not just photographs of weddings or puppies or things like that. Show me what you've done for properties that are similar to mine. Whether it's a hotel or a retail location or a manufacturing location, I want to see it. You also want to work with that photographer on what are you trying to convey, what are you trying to present to potential buyers and renters. What's the story of this property? What are the highlights or features of this property that should be focused on? And make sure they understand that they're not just coming through and taking pictures to take pictures. You want to show it in its best light, make great first impressions, and appeal to certain audiences. And then third, I would say is understanding your licenses and rights to use those photographs. The way it works in the United States is the producer or creator of the visual assets or the intellectual property owns it and owns all the rights unless they give rights to you. And you always want that in writing. So it's very clear, here's what I can and can't do with these photographs. It's a very big topic in the industry today because I think a lot of people assume, well, once I have the photographs, I can do anything I want. But that's not necessarily true. The license could be restricted to just print, just brochures and magazines, or it could be restricted to just internet. If it's not in writing, you really don't have it. You need to ask for it and have that agreement. So I think those are three important things in screening a business partner or a photographer is the quality of their work, their experience, their ability to understand your story and your audience, and getting those licenses in writing.
Very good tips. Thank you. How do photographers charge for commercial properties? Is it per square foot, per room? How does that work?
That's a good question. Generally, it's per photograph. So you'll have a rate for the artist, photographer, pilot to come out to the property. You think of that as a session fee. So you pay them to come out and shoot everything that's applicable, everything that makes sense. And then on the back end, you proof those photographs and get to choose the ones that you want to license. And it's just a per photograph license fee. So it's a combination of those two. And the range could go anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple $1,000 depending on the size of the property, how many photographs are being taken, and the mix of services. If you get photography, drone, and something like virtual staging, may be more expensive. It really depends on the type of property you're marketing. Is it a simple, small, single-use space, or is it a hotel? Is it an office park or retail complex? There's a solution for that entire range of properties.
Is there anything else that our audience should know in regards to commercial photography?
Well, I think one of the other big changes recently is what we refer to as virtual staging. It's a newer technology that's really popular now. And it's basically a studio can digitally edit your photographs to provide a better presentation to buyers or sellers. Empty buildings aren't super sexy and attractive, and it's a lot of times hard for people to envision themselves and their business in that space. But what we can do for sellers today is help them digitally put in furnishings, furniture, other setups to really help a prospective buyer or renter understand not just what the property is today, but what it could be, what the potential and the possibilities are for them. So it's a kind of a huge leap, advance in visually marketing properties and helping buyers kind of envision what it will look like when they're there, as opposed to what it looks like today.
Would you go ahead and hire an interior designer to do that, or would you guys just put the furniture yourselves?
We have galleries of furnishings that a client can choose from. A lot of them do have interior designers or decorators provide consulting or advice and say, here's how we want to show this property. We want to, maybe this property is appropriate for startup tech companies. So let's show it with this kind of furniture and look to it. Or this property is more appealing to a bank or an investment firm. So let's show it with these types of furnishings. We can definitely help with that, but a lot of clients who's ever doing their marketing for them or representing them would have input on, here's the story we want to present and how we think that looks. So it's very exciting.
It does sound very exciting. Brian, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Well, we'd love to hear from your listeners. The easiest way is vhtstudios.com. If you go to our website, you can see examples of all our work from around the country, every different type of property. You can reach out to a consultant for your property, or if you have a project you want to talk to us about, love to talk to you, hear what you're looking to accomplish, and let you know how we can help.
Thank you so much for your time today. I learned a ton. And
Good.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Steph. I've enjoyed being here. Have a great day.
Make sure to subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't already. You can subscribe on montecarlorei.com. We started sending the main bullet points that we learn in each interview, so you can have it in your inbox and is really easy to access. And I would like to thank our latest reviewer, Big Joe Flo. Fantastic podcast. I am a college student trying to learn more about the basics of commercial real estate. I just recently discovered this podcast, and it is by far my favorite. She describes her experiences in such a detailed way so the listener can always learn valuable lessons, especially as someone who has commute for hours every day. I love gaining knowledge about topics that I'm passionate about. I could listen to these for hours. Well, thank you so much, Big Joe Flo. I really appreciate your review. I wish I had learned about commercial real estate investing at your age while going to college. That is really fantastic. Congratulations. And I wish you all a ton of success. See you next time.